He is getting meaner as he gets older, and you can no longer stand it. Something dark has been growing inside him for a very long time, and now it is no longer hiding behind smiles, soft words, or empty promises, because age is not making him wiser, calmer, or kinder, but instead it is pulling the truth out of him little by little until everyone can finally see the bitterness that has been sitting deep inside his heart all along. The older he becomes, the heavier his spirit feels, and the more he tries to control the people around him, the colder his words become and the harder it is for anyone to breathe. What once looked like small anger has turned into something much bigger, and the people who stayed close to him are beginning to feel tired in their souls because they can no longer pretend that his behavior is normal or harmless anymore. There was a time when you kept trying to understand him because you believed that maybe he was hurt, confused, or carrying a pain that made him act the way he did. But now your eyes are fully open and your spirit is no longer asleep, because you have started to realize that some people do not soften with time. Some people grow harder as the years pass because they refuse to face the darkness living inside them. And instead of healing, they allow anger, pride, jealousy, and bitterness to grow like weeds inside their hearts until there is almost no kindness left. The sadness you once felt for him has slowly turned into exhaustion because you have carried his moods, his cruelty, and his sharp words for so long. The atmosphere around him has changed so much that every simple conversation now feels heavy and uncomfortable because there is always tension following him everywhere he goes. People can feel it before he even speaks because his energy no longer brings peace into a room. It brings fear, confusion, and pressure, and many people are beginning to notice that he becomes angry over the smallest things while acting as though everyone else is the problem. The older he gets, the less patient he becomes, and the more he expects people to stay silent while he speaks harshly without care for anyone's feelings. Deep down, he knows he is changing, but instead of correcting himself, he keeps feeding the worst parts of his nature. You have reached a point where your heart can no longer carry the weight of his behavior because your spirit has become tired of always walking carefully around him just to avoid another cold reaction or painful moment. There is a strong feeling rising inside you that says you cannot continue shrinking yourself just to survive his moods anymore. He does not realize that his own actions are slowly pushing people away from him, because while he believes he is becoming stronger, people are actually becoming emotionally distant from him. The walls around him are growing higher every day, and the loneliness waiting ahead of him is built by his own hands. He thinks people are changing against him, but the truth is that his harshness has become too painful to ignore. Even those who once defended him are becoming quiet because they are finally seeing patterns they ignored for years. The truth can stay hidden for only a while before it rises to the surface, and now his true nature is becoming impossible to cover anymore. You have spent much time trying to keep peace that you forgot what peace really feels like inside your own heart. But something is shifting now because your soul is starting to reject the chaos you once tolerated. The more he grows colder, the more you begin to understand. The more he grows older, the more you begin to understand that love should not feel like fear, pressure, sadness, or emotional exhaustion every single day. Your heart is waking up to the fact that constant disrespect slowly destroys the spirit of the person receiving it. You are beginning to see that his age is not giving him wisdom, because wisdom brings understanding, patience, and humility, while he is becoming more controlling, more impatient, and more emotionally cruel. He may continue growing older with anger still living inside him, but you are no longer meant to carry the burden of his emotional darkness. The time has come for you to stop explaining away behavior that keeps hurting your heart, because deep inside you already know the truth. You know that the more time passes, the harder he becomes to be around, and your spirit is no longer willing to pretend that everything is fine. Something inside you has awakened, and it is pushing you toward peace, freedom, and emotional rest. The days of ignoring your own pain just to keep him comfortable are coming to an end, because your heart can no longer survive in a place where kindness keeps disappearing. His bitterness may continue growing with age, but your spirit is beginning to rise out of the heaviness he created around you. You are starting to see clearly that you were never meant to spend your life carrying someone whose heart keeps becoming colder with every passing year. The truth has finally become too loud to silence, and now your soul is preparing to choose peace over pain, freedom over fear, and healing over emotional suffering.